nature or in your character, but I really like to see candidates who have a variety of interests. I like to see people who have pursued organizations that tie to their interests, but they've volunteered and they've been captain of the volleyball team or this part-time job, and they've, even in a part-time job, they've taken on a couple different roles. So I like to see a well-rounded presentation, and really you're packaging yourself on this one piece of paper. So I do like to see that. Back to the don't, I guess, again, when it comes to every sentence makes a difference, the don't for me is if it's a sentence that doesn't have an impact, I would question if it should be on your resume. If there's no end result, if there's no measurable anything because you were involved, it probably doesn't belong on your resume, in my opinion.
I would say don't ever submit a resume without a cover letter. I get lots of resumes with no cover letter. I just get the person sitting at their computer and they're clicking send, see the job posting, click send, and there's no real effort put into it. So if you're interested in a job, genuinely interested, write a brief, concise cover letter that talks about your interest and why you'd be a good fit for the role. Absolutely.
But again, just to add to that, I think you really need to specialize that cover letter, because we see cover letters all the time, and you get those generic ones, and to me that doesn't really, show me that you put any time into the company. So definitely that you need to make sure that you put it specific to the skill sets that that company is looking for.
I'm just going to go the simple route and say follow application instructions. It's usually on the job description or on the company's website. Who are you emailing it to? Where are you emailing it? What is the person's name? Just follow those very basic application instructions and meet the deadline. And at the intern level especially, you'll stand apart from people who aren't doing that. And then the only other thing I'd say for a do is print your resume and look at it sitting on a desk from about 5 feet away. That's a really easy way to just make sure your white space and formatting are, as you were saying, appealing to the eye. And it's also a really good way to make sure you're not accidentally sending a 2-page resume, because references available upon request flow kind of went onto that second page, and I wasted another page of paper at my office when I was printing it out. So print it and follow instructions.
What process does a resume, I know this probably is helpful to everybody so you understand the process. What does a resume go through once it's submitted into your company? Who looks at it? And how do they sort it? What's the process?
A resume for us is actually not considered, how do I say, they're not technically considered an applicant because you send us a resume. How we work with the company, and I think a lot of companies do, where if you send us a resume, I will send you an email back and thank you obviously for that resume and your interest, but then I will encourage you to go online. And it's not that we don't want to review your resume, but there is a reason we have the application process. So you can download or upload your resume into that application, and then from there we would follow up. But a resume is not considered that you're applying for a position until you actually put in that application.
That's how it is for the majority of you.
Ours is a little bit different, just because we don't have like a form on our website like that. We do have people submit a resume and cover letter, and depending on the position, a portfolio or some writing samples to our central email list. And then we have a senior intern actually screen those. So this is kind of fun actually. So she'll go through and grade them. Every resume gets an A, B, C, D, or F, just like in school. And the ones that get an A, she'll schedule a phone interview with immediately. This is just for the intern team. The ones that get a B or C, I'll take a look at first and give her the go-ahead to either schedule a phone interview or tell her to hold off. And the ones that get a D or F just go straight in the no pile. And so it's actually a fellow intern that's screening your resumes when they come to Ultralingua for the first time, a former intern from the staff that's been promoted, but that person's taking the first look.
And one thing too, when you go to a career fair, don't feel that it wasn't worth your time to go to that event if you hand off that resume and then that employer tells you to go apply online. Again, that's kind of the reason legally behind it, is that we can't necessarily screen you off of that resume. So we will match everything up when we get back to the office and see that application. But I know a lot of times there's some frustration in students' faces when they drop off that resume, and then we tell them to kind of take it to the next step. So that's the reason we do that.
there is coming up. I guess I'll open it up to you guys for a couple minutes here if you have